Hi, guys. Hello, good evening. I can see many of you joining us. Thank you. Want to say hi to you all. This is going to be a smaller group today, guys, because we're mostly only the Australian accreditation, and some of the UK people, it's not relevant to them. So yeah, I'm glad you guys could make it. We've done it a bit earlier. We had a long webinar last night, and we got through quite a few cases. So today I don't really want to do cases. I want to simply discuss assessments because it's really important. We all have a shared understanding of this. Now, Dr. Alex Fu, who is a dentist in WA, he's one of our probably most advanced learners, and he's gotten close to almost finishing the Australian accredited program. And he's going to come a bit later in the webinar. He's just finishing patients today, and he said he'll be there shortly. So he's also going to come at the end of the hour and a half and go over his experience of preparing all his cases for the assessments. And he's given us amazing feedback that's already made us change a lot of things in our assessment strategy. And I wanted to go over that with you today. And actually have opportunity. We're going to make these guys, every one of you, by the way, I'm just going to allow you to talk because I really do want any one of you to just unmute your mic, ask me a question, interrupt me, okay? It's okay to interrupt me any moment. Just speak away. It's sometimes easier to ask rather than keep chatting. So I've allowed you all to have a chat with me and make this a bit informal. Yeah. Now, can I ask somebody to speak up and say hello and tell me how they're going with the course and what's going on for them?
Hi, Vandana. This is Sumaya here.
Hello. How are you? Welcome, Sumaya. I know you just joined.
Yeah, we joined today. So I just thought to zoom in this webinar and see how everything is because it looks quite new to me. So I'm just hoping I can learn something. Yeah.
I'm going to get some of the learners to give you, or beginners to give you some tips now, okay? So, so lovely to hear your voice. And anyone else, guys, some of you who've been in the course for a few months, beginners, tell me how you're going. This is really informal. We're going to discuss a lot of things, so please speak up.
Hey guys, it's George here.
Hi, George.
How are you guys going?
Good, thanks. You've joined just 1 or 2 months ago, is that right?
Yeah, end of December.
Yes, welcome. Tell me, George, tell me a little bit about how many aligners you used to do before, what's happening, what are you learning? Tell me a bit more.
Yeah, so I guess previously, even before I got into dentistry, I was a hygienist. So I used to help out with the dentist and his Invisalign cases. So that's where a lot of my sort of aligner experience came from before doing dentistry. And now this is like my 4th year out, and I thought it's time that I get back into aligners. And so before sort of embarking on more complex cases, I signed up to this course in the hope that I would get a bit of a better biomechanics understanding and not relying on the technicians from the aligner companies with their clin checks. So yeah, it's only been about a month. I'm almost ready to submit my assignment, but obviously,
wow. That's fast. That's fast.
Yeah, so I mean, I kind of had a bit of time off over Christmas, so I kind of did a lot of the content.
Yeah.
So yeah, just about to submit some assignment, A, B, and the other one just for the research.
Yeah. Okay, that's great. Actually, half the group's already done them, and everyone's done really well, and without much help, actually. And a majority of the people are saying the same thing because the clinical scenarios are very similar. And
yeah, so not many studies come up apart from this.
Yeah, but to be honest, I learned from you guys from the very first assignment. I was like, oh, I didn't know about this paper. And so it's actually very good. So now we're seeing a pattern, because obviously the cases are literally asking you to narrow down on one area, and it's just showing you there's hardly any studies there. But everybody says things a bit differently, and the examples are kind of showing you. We put an example there, but literally half the group has done this quite well. Like, we've not had one person say, not even one person to go back and say fix this, because they have been very high quality, the submissions. So I'm sure you'll do well with that, George. And do you like to be called Tan George or George?
Just George. Yeah, it's George. A weird cultural thing that my full name is in that order.
Okay, but it's actually George. Okay.
Just George, yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for your feedback. Well, I think so far, have you learned something from the course, like besides assessments?
Yeah, so definitely. So I've listened to 2 webinars now just on like case presentations, and it's just really interesting. I mean, obviously I haven't fully gone into the biomechanics of everything, but, for certain cases like, deep bites and, the way that you talk about intruding the anteriors and extruding the posteriors, and then also the limitations of arch expansion, per arch, things like that. These are the sorts of things that I didn't really understand or know about before. So that's been very helpful. I'm really looking forward to actually getting into the lectures and, having a better understanding of everything.
Yeah.
And even just, yeah.
Take your time, because I really think like sometimes, like initial people are very excited and motivated, which is great. But I do find people like to run a lot in the first 3-4 months. But seriously, you do have easily up to 18 months to complete this. You can easily take that time. And we will not, at 12-month time point, we will kind of say, hey, you've got this much time left, but easily you can take that time. Up to 18 months. So that gives you a lot of opportunity to be in the program, attend things, because there's also updates, like already the live lectures, I'm planning to update them. And they were only given last year. And already some things have changed, that some lectures I actually want to redo them. So every year there's a little update or something new comes out or different that will add to understanding. So I just think take your time. I think definitely by 12 months, what I've seen, like complete beginners who've never done ortho, by 12 months of the UK course, because this is the first time we've done Australian, the UK course, they're often doing about 5 to 7 cases, majority of them. And they're very confident. The presentations are pretty good. And already I'm seeing that in this group, like I'm seeing people who are absolute beginners and now they're presenting cases and I'm going, wow, very well done within a few months. So I'm sure you'll gain a lot.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, looking forward to it.
Thank you for sharing that. So I'm going to just, guys, anyone else wants to say something before I begin? Anyone else wants to share the experience? No? Okay. All right. So look, please interrupt me, okay? This is really, I wanted to be informal because I want to answer your questions here. So let's just get started. I know Dr. Alex Fu will join us in a sec, maybe in half an hour. And then we also have some examples. As I said, he's the first one submitting. We'll go over all of that. So this webinar, we're just talking about the Australian, okay? There are some of you I know in the group who've done the UK now doing Australian, and I'll talk about that as well, but majority are doing a dual accreditation, which means when you graduate from your Australian, you automatically get the UK as well. The most important thing I want to say to you, like literally what George just said, he's learning the limits of tooth movement and the limits of, expansion in an adult, the limits of how much we can move teeth. Seriously, you cannot go wrong with William Prophet's book and his publication on the envelope of discrepancy. It's also called the limits of tooth movement. These graphs, I want you to print out and put it in your office, because this is the most common question I get asked. How much can I move my teeth? And these graphs really show you that an upper incisor with orthodontics alone in an adult, you can only reduce an overjet up to 7 millimeters. That's it. But when there's growth, the yellow zone, you can actually change overjets up to 12 millimeters. And when you have skeletal anchorage or surgery, you could go up to 15 millimeters. Okay, so this is just an idea of like how big the overjet is and how much can be achieved with orthodontics alone. And when is there a need for surgery? And you look at the upper incisor in different directions. So this is showing you intrusion, extrusion, and AP movement. So forward movement and lingual movement of upper incisor. Then you have the lower incisor. It's a bit different. Okay, so again, for example, if we have to retract the mandible or advance it beyond 10 millimeters, we're looking at surgery. If we need to intrude it, we can only intrude it by, about 2 millimeters realistically with orthodontics alone. But when we have skeletal anchorage, we can intrude it nearly up to 5 millimeters. So this really helps you understand what can be achieved. This is upper molar. Again, these are limits of tooth movement. Orthodontics alone is often done in adults. The yellow zone is when there's growth. So there's a bit of orthopedic effect. Skeletal anchorage expands that envelope, and surgery obviously gives you the ideal correction or the maximal correction. So yeah, I just wanted to remind you all that this is probably the most important pictures in orthodontics for you to remember. You have them in your handouts, you have them in various places everywhere. I'll put a handout of this as well later on. Just print them out and actually put them in your surgeries. Okay. So let's go to the graduate diploma. This is not about course content as much about, but more about the structure of it and assessments. So we have 7 units, as you all know, and the units are designed to go in a methodical manner, a way a patient will walk through your doors. So the first unit is all about getting your fundamentals, your evidence-based research, preparing you for that patient's journey, preparing a clinical protocol for you of what if a patient with perio comes with increased caries risk. Would you even do ortho for them? What type of ortho is recommended? So it's based on that. The second unit is very simple. It's about your first patient coming in, doing an orthodontic exam and taking records. The next unit is about diagnosing and planning treatments. Then it's about using digital technologies, because we're not talking traditional ortho here. We're talking digital technologies and using them to evaluate your treatments. Then there is quite a heavy emphasis in this course on early interceptive orthodontics with clear aligners. Although you're welcome to do some functional orthopedic treatments if you've done some training before, it doesn't matter, but the assignments relate to mostly clear aligner technologies. Then you have your 6th unit, which is you've got to start a treatment. Now, those who've done the UK course, they're aware there is no need to start treatment. The UK course is a really simplified version. The assessments are very, very simple. And there is no need to start a treatment. In the Australian system is very skill-based, okay? So skill-based means there has to be evidence that you've done something. To get accreditation, to get nationally accredited training in a technique, you have to show to me that you have done it once. So this was a very challenging unit because the way we assessed it, we had to first take it online due to the pandemic. Next is we have to assess you. How did you bond an attachment? Did you even place an attachment? So and Dr. Alex, who's done an excellent presentation on that, the assignment on that, and I'll share that with you in a sec as well. And then the last unit is about understanding complex treatments, creating a multidisciplinary approach, writing referral letters. And a lot of this is obviously based for patients in your practice, but we do have certain reasonable adjustments available for you where if you really can't find a certain type of patients, we can provide a scenario for you and you can go from there. So each unit has quite a detailed description in your handbook. It talks about really what we're assessing at the end of the day, what we're going to teach you here and what we're assessing. So just go through these definitions really, really well, like these descriptions, really well. The second one, all about performing. So we have to assess your knowledge and your skill. So that is a practical as well as theoretical. And we have to assess each unit in those two areas. And so obviously you have to examine your patients, you have to take records, you have to have the ability to diagnose. And how do you diagnose? You have to have the knowledge behind diagnosis. And then you have the third unit again. So, you know, all the same. At the end of the day, everything is about here creating digital records. So, you know, study models, the traditional models won't work for this course. You would have to convert it into a digital format. Now, if anyone has those kind of questions, I can help you with that as well. But let's just get through the assessments next. So you have those different units, as you can see. I'm going to give this to you as a handout anyway, so you can later on download and go through the descriptions. They're all in your handbooks, and they're much more detailed in your handbooks. And this is also on our website, basically. Now let's look at the actual assessment task. So we decided that the unit 1 was a simplified version. It had nothing to do with, or it had very little to do with orthodontic treatment in terms of skill. So we decided to make it quite a short, sweet little unit, and we were going to assess it really quickly. At the time when we got the course accredited, we estimated that most students within the first month should be completing this unit 1. But what we found is, in reality, it's taken people up to 3 or 4 months, and they're doing it at their own pace. There is no compulsion to finish unit 1 assignments within the first month. It's simply a guideline. And if you take 3 months to do it, that is okay too. So how are we going to assess? The unit 1 is a very different unit on its own. So for example, tomorrow you decide to not do the course at all, but you've completed the first unit and you've done its assessment, you will walk away with a statement of attainment or a certificate to show that you've completed the first unit. So if you ever come back to our course, you won't have to repeat it. Also, if you go to a parallel course, which doesn't exist, to be honest, there is a Australian accredited program by a dentist in Australia. That is, I wouldn't say it's a parallel program. They have their own units. We have our own units. I don't know if it gives you any recognition of prior learning, the fact that you've done it, but perhaps it can help you if there were more diplomas that were released in the future and they have similar units, so you won't have to repeat them. Okay, but when it comes to orthodontic treatment diagnosis, we thought this is not something we're going to assess unit by unit. It has to be holistic, because when a patient walks through your door, taking that orthodontic record, analyzing it, diagnosing it, treatment planning it, and then treating it is all in one flow. And we have to be able to kind of show that type of flow. And that cannot come from separate assessments. It would have to be some sort of a combined holistic assessment. So we decided to cluster our last 6 units as one big cluster. And that means there's a lot of assessments in that entire cluster. So let's go through that. So the first unit, which I can see half of you guys have already completed, and you guys have done really well. What you have here is a knowledge quiz. So the first unit is just all about evidence-based orthodontics, being able to do a search. You have your library access, you get a couple of clinical scenarios, you have to do an assignment on those scenarios, and there's a knowledge quiz of 20 questions. Now, if you guys look at your assessment guide, your participant handbook, very early on, it's right on top of your orientation resources. Let me just show it to you here. Let me just make sure you can see my screen. One sec. I just want to, guys, just make sure you can see what I'm seeing. And so if you look at the knowledge quiz, one sec. Sorry. One sec. Yeah, so if you look at your orientation resources here, the most important thing for you to really read well, and I know it's very long, I'm so sorry, it's hundreds of pages, but the assessment guide in your participant handbook. So you have this participant handbook right here. Just one sec. Can you guys see this here? Yeah, this participant handbook. So I want you to download it. It's got an assessment guide at the end. The other important thing is we've actually just released, why is this not letting me move? Sorry. It's not letting me move. Okay. We've also just released a new assessment instructions for you all based on Dr. Fu's feedback. And that is here. And you were all emailed that as well recently. So this one right there, assessment instructions for participants. These are more instructions specific to how you submit, okay? And every assessment has its marking checklist here. So you can understand when you submit exactly what we're looking for. If something we can't mark, then you cannot be declared competent in that. Okay, so these have been designed again with a lot of thought, industry input. At the moment, this is our first year doing it. Based on your feedback, it might change, but for now, these are our first starting templates and time point at this time point. So these are the very important marking checklist. You must, when you submit your assignment, make sure that I can mark everything in here off. So let's go back to what I want to show you. And here we go. Let's go back to, how do you go back to this? One sec, guys, sorry. Here we go. Just gonna, why is this not working? Sorry, a little bit of technical glitch when I'm moving from things and I'm trying to do these annotations. And it's just not working. Okay, here we go again. Guys, can you see this? No? Can you see my screen now with the keynote? Can you see my PowerPoint? I just wanted to know. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. So unit 1, you've got a knowledge quiz, 20 questions on average. The people who've passed have just taken 5 minutes to finish it. Okay. At any time point, the quizzes are designed to actually show you the incorrect answers if you get them wrong, and you can reattempt multiple times to get 100%. You must get 100% score in this. Now, for those who've done the UK, you never did unit 1. So the UK people have to do unit 1, okay, because that was not part of your course. So then you have an assignment, part A and part B, and you've got examples provided in your portal. Then once you finish your unit 1, spend time in your cluster assessments. So we have portfolios where you have to submit about 4 cases of yours. Okay, and they're a mixture of children and adults. You have an interview that you usually book at the end of your year with me. And the questions are already provided in a very logical format. And it's the same structured questions I'm going to ask everyone. You have a marking checklist. There's a critical reflection report. Again, those who've done the UK have already done assessment 3, critical reflection. So you don't have to repeat that. Also, those who've done UK and graduated have also submitted 2 cases, but you will have to redo them somewhat to satisfy the marking checklist for the cases in Australia. So you have to add more detail and more information. None of you guys have done journal logbooks before, so you'll all have to do it, and do it from the very start of your course. Start maintaining that logbook. And then there's a final knowledge quiz. Again, people who've graduated from the UK do not have to do the final knowledge quiz because you've already passed it in your UK exam. So, but if you haven't done UK before and graduated, you need to do everything here. Is this making sense to anyone here? Yeah, anybody's having some questions so far? Any questions? No? Okay. What you do get is a statement of attainment. When you finish each unit, you're going to get a statement of attainment for that unit. And it's towards the partial completion of the diploma. When you complete all 7 units with the marking checklist deemed competent, you will actually get your entire diploma award that is AU accredited and a second award that is UK accredited. So you have 2 diplomas. We have created a timeline here for you guys. This is again based on your feedback. So we created some sort of an assessment here where we thought, okay, if somebody joined our course today and wants to finish in 12 months, and you can obviously take a bit longer if you want to do it in 18 months, okay? And you can adjust this time frame for you. So if somebody is wanting to do this in 12 months, what would it look like? Because we do say 12 to 18 months for this course. Well, basically, within the first 3 months, you should really have gone through the orientation part here of your e-learning portal. So all the orientation handbooks, your past assessments, always look at the assignments. You start the course with assignments because you know that's the outcome. That is what you have to produce at the end of the course. So go through the past examples of the assignments that we keep uploading, go through that assessment guide that we've given you, and do the beginner's corner because it has a lot of templates and downloads, patient examination forms that are going to be needed for your assessments. So download everything there. Don't rush through this and start to review the content of the first unit. We also say in the first 3 months, plan for assessment, meaning you're going to download the logbook. It's an Excel spreadsheet. You start kind of filling it. We provided you templates. So if you saw 5 orthodontic cases, if you diagnosed 5 orthodontic conditions, if you took 10 records in the first month or 5 photographs, whatever you did, just write some sort of a summary. The logbook doesn't really get assessed. It's supplementary information. So if somebody didn't do well in one of their assignments and we had a question mark, we would look at the logbook. Okay, then you start preparing for your cases. So all I want you to do in the first 3 months, download past examples that have been passed, templates provided to you, start looking at it because that's what you're going to feel. So each time you see a patient, you know in your head what you have to take as information and what patient might be suitable here. It would be good if in the first 3 months, you guys can complete the first unit, not compulsory, it's not mandatory, but it's a knowledge quiz that should only take you 5 minutes or 10 minutes to complete, 20 questions. The questions, you know, Dr. Fu, the other day, I called him and I got his feedback, the one who's completed majority of the Australian course. And he did say to me that, you know, what he did was one of the things he did was very clever. He had his assessment guide next to him. So as he was answering the questions, he was circling the correct answers. So if something was incorrect, it was very quick for him to reattempt the quiz and just literally redo it again. Unfortunately, at this point in time, and we've spoken to the e-learning portal developers, there is literally no function where you can only reattempt the incorrect answers. If you get less than 100% in your quizzes, you will have to go back and attempt every question again. And I'm so sorry that you have to do that. We're trying to work out a lot of roundabout solutions and we're working, but it's probably a year away from it being executed. Then you have an assignment, part A and B, where you are given 2 patients of mine, where I ask you questions. I say, hey, could you look at the evidence behind this? You know, this patient has a high caries risk and they want orthodontic treatment. What would you recommend as a suitable appliance? And what is the evidence telling us? So you have to do an evidence-based research, given your library login. You have to critically appraise the paper with the checklist that we've given you. And the part B is to then change your protocol. So what did you learn from the evidence-based research that you did? And some people have changed their protocol based on that. They've said, well, now when I get a high-risk caries person, I will recommend aligners over braces, or when I have a high perio-risk patient, aligners seem to have better evidence to support their use during for orthodontics, especially for plaque control and controlling the perio. So, you know, you might change your protocols or how you will assess this patient's caries risk. how you will change your informed consent, how will you change your information. So part B is about how it changes your practice. And these are short reports. Many people are, sending us these. And then you have to give us 30 days. A lot of these assignments are very lengthy. We correct them within 15 days, but we do need up to 30 days to mark them and send you back your mark sheet, send you back your certificate of completion of Unit 1. So it is quite time consuming. So please make sure you give us plenty of time. I also think it's a good idea for those who are really advanced and they want to get into things. The blue is coaching, okay? Coaching is booked online. You guys know it's through your Boss My Account dashboard. When you log into your Boss My Account, on the left, there's a dashboard and there's something that says book coaching. You can click there and book it. Now, as part of anyone who's doing the Australian coaching is included, and it's one-on-one session. They are, again, not mandatory, but highly recommended, only because it gives us more and more evidence of your learning, what you've grasped, if there is ever to be a future claim against you, or also if there is a current claim that you were not competent. Okay, so I think it's really important that and it's not mandatory to do all 3 sessions. Even if you book a couple with me, go through a couple of cases. When you click on that link, calendly.com/bossortho, save it on your phones. That link, literally calendly.com/bossortho will take you to anything you need to book with me. Okay. If you want to book coaching with me, an in-office observation day, if you want to book your interview exam at the end of the year, whatever you want to book, that's the link for it. So I want you to go there and book your session. Now, at the moment, I only do Thursdays for coaching. And sometimes there is a wait. And I mean, sometimes nobody's booking. So you get, I always say, be patient. When you click on that, we say, look, tell your patients at least 30 to, 6 weeks, actually, up to 6 weeks wait. Please don't rush this process. I'd really like you to have a go at the templates, the PowerPoints, so that by the time we get to the end of the year, they're almost ready for submission. And what we believe, typically people are taking about 1 to 5 hours per week consistently to study, to read, and this excludes clinical time and the patients that you see and the preparation around the clinical time. I also think the webinars is monthly webinars that we're doing, really important. You participate, you do get certificate of attendance, the CPD certificates. And I hope you're all getting them because we've been sending them for the last 6 months after the webinar. Did you get yours for yesterday's webinar? Did anyone get their certificates? Yes. Okay, good. Yeah, just make sure it doesn't go in your spam. It comes from a company that is really weird, called Gutenberg certs, but they're connected with Zoom. And when you attend a Zoom, you get a CPD straight right there and then. Anyway, so monthly is really good as well. I know everybody loves those webinars. We're always there, hours and hours and hours. And I really ask you to post your case first come first serve basis. Please be patient. Many people want to share lots of cases, but also understand there's other people with cases. I also don't want you to be very reliant on me for every case, because some people, and I understand that for beginners, but some people are actually wanting every case checked by me, any case they ever treat. That is actually very, very time consuming, and it doesn't make you self-reliant. So I'm one of those people who would like to teach you to be more reliant on yourself than me. Okay, so by 6 months of the course, we're getting to the second quarter. You want to be starting the Digital Orthodontic Starter course. Now, if I could share with you what that is, I think in your portals where that is. The Digital Orthodontic Starter course are the live, so it's all after Unit 1. And you start to see them here. They're your live lectures. They're like the ones that I'm standing in a lecture hall and I'm doing videos. You've got a handout there you can download and you can make notes as you go. We've also got 2 world leaders in this. I'm not kidding. Dr. Nicholas Schwed down here. He's a WFO president, a really, really close friend of mine. and his WFO presentation. He's one of the best clear aligner speaker, actually, hands down. And you know, I love his presentation that he shared with this group. He was very happy when I asked him to share with this group his webinar, and you guys have access to it. It's very new still. It was just presented last year at the WFO meeting, so still very relevant. And he'll eventually come and lecture for you guys as well at some point. Professor Wilmes from Germany, he's coming on 1st of March, 2nd of March. We have this Global Leader program that we started. We've already had Chris Chang, we've had lovely Cordia Lamb, and now we have Professor Wilmes coming. Professor Wilmes, a very dear friend of mine, again, very supportive of teaching. He is an inventor of skeletal anchored system, and he's written lots of chapters. I mean, we've together, him and I have published 3 papers on mini screws, aligners, and you know, he's coming all the way from Germany online, not flying, online, and he's an amazing presenter. But already he's shared with you a presentation that he gives to orthodontists around the world. This is a fantastic presentation. So make sure you do listen to some of these world speakers, and very soon we'll be adding more global leaders, okay? So this is something new that we've started for you. We really want, as you know, whatever we promise, we try to deliver even more. This was never even put in the program guide. You guys weren't even made aware of it, and we started it. We never promised the in-office program, and we've now included that as well. So we're doing our best to just give you as much value, as much learning. It's all about learning, because when you're here for that 12, 18 months with me, I want it to be your best 12 or 18 months, and that you have lifetime skills where you understand out there what's bullshit and what's not, okay? So please watch them. So by 6 months, I think if you watch these lectures, and sometimes a couple of times, I read books, I would have read Profit about 10 times, okay? You have to do things repeatedly unless you're super, super smart and have a photographic memory. I have to do things many, many times. If I like something, I will do it multiple times. Otherwise, it doesn't sink in. So please don't get frustrated. You understand that some of these lectures you might have to watch again, okay? And again, and sometimes maybe even 3, 4 times, and there's no harm in it. You know, watch half an hour of it, watch half an hour another time. And I really think you will learn a lot from videos. And some of these live videos, the feedback's been that it feels almost like you're in a lecture hall with me. And we are going to eventually be re-recording them. Every year I want to re-record them live and make them a little bit shorter and more concise for you. Then we have these orthodontic foundation lectures, your core lectures. This is, see, it even says it's core lectures for the cluster units 2 to 7. Now we're getting really into orthodontics, okay? So you have really mini lectures of 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 7 minutes, you know, topic 1, 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, topic 2, 1.2.1, 2.2. And each one comes with a discussion topic. The discussions aren't mandatory, but again, further evidence. The more evidence you give me of your competency, the more we know you are a competent person for this diploma. Australian system is all about looking at engagement, looking at whether you're engaging with the system a lot, whether you are actively doing things. So please make sure you do participate in discussion, okay? And with discussions, it's also a nice way, because when you write a discussion, for example, you will find that other people have answered, and you can see other people's answers, and then my feedback to them. And we have hundreds of discussion going on, and everybody says things a little bit differently, and it's always a little bit unique how people answer. So I want you to, and it also kind of cements things for you, like, what did I learn in this topic? So I want you to consider that as well, the discussion topics. Now let's go back to the PowerPoint. So say you're getting past 6 months, by now you should just be starting some cases, okay? I think 6 months is a sweet spot for a beginner to commence cases in aligners, perhaps be bonding their first attachments. And it could be a time where you're using your coaching session again with me for another case. And use the coaching sessions not just for your clinical practice, but use them to build your PowerPoint template. So by the time the end comes, the assignment's ready, because I'm going to help you and give you feedback. The last 6 months of your course, I think you need to now really sit down and do assessments. So you need to do your quiz. You need to start building your portfolio A, B, C, D, E. We'll go through that in a sec. Your logbook, start planning your interview, start actually booking it in. And because that's nearly an hour, I think. So it's quite long. And I can tell you right now, we started the course in July. It is self-paced. People have joined at different time points, but a lot of people join in July. So if someone wants to finish in June, July, August, we'll be quite booked for interviews. So I can tell you right now, like, you know, make sure that you do that and you book in advance. And if we really think we cannot find time in a reasonable time frame, I will open more days for you guys. So, but for now, let's try and work with the system and what we have. And really what I want you to do is the last 2-3 months of your course or last few months, become very active in webinars. And I want you to go through some of the deeper stuff. So each unit, for example, sorry, it's a vertical wall. Each unit, let's go to unit 2. Unit 2 is all about orthodontic examination and record. And each unit, I want you to go through every element that we go here, because it goes a bit more deeper into them. And it also, there's no harm in doing it before. You can actually start to go through this before attempting your assessments, but always have assessments in the back of your mind as an outcome. Because if you're not prepared for it, you won't be able to deliver it at the end. Now, I wonder if Dr. Alex was already here, and I'd love his feedback. Let me see if Alex is here, and I'm allowing you to talk. I don't think he's come on yet. Sorry, I'm just looking if he's here yet. No. Okay. And see, you have, for example, on cephalometrics, you have that. I've given some advanced lectures from other orthodontists as well here for you. These are more deeper, like, for example, more in-depth papers, how to correct an overbite. And there is some repetition across, but I just think this just cements the concept a lot more. One of my favorite part of the course are these case coaching videos. Okay, please actually, oh, sorry. One sec. Is these case coaching videos right there. Okay, these are really amazing. They're literally like our case discussion webinars where we sit there and talk about different. So these are different conditions, different cases. While I was coaching, I actually created videos, and you learn a lot. So if you've got a deep bite case, if you've got a class 2 teen, if you've got a class 1 deep bite with retrocline incisors, go look at this one. If you've got an Invisalign, sorry, class 1 mild open bite, if you've got a mild crowding case in class 1, male, female, if you've got a teen, you know, whatever, there's quite a few cases here that I want you to look at. If you've got something similar, and these are quite nice and neat. Throughout these as well, what you've got is spread out videos. For example, I assume you will be doing some sort of new patient treatment plan discussion around this stage while you're going through the content. And I've got a video here for you that goes over informed consent. This is a demonstration video taken in my practice. How do you discuss the new patient treatment plan? A demo video. And a lot of these are created by us. So this is our online in-office program where a video guy came and followed me and filmed a lot of procedures. So yeah, I want you to really basically, you know, spend the last 2-3 months going through everything in the portal. And I really think it will take you a few months to even do the assessments. Okay, so let's get back into the presentation. So I've given you a timeline. Also, what we started recently is course reminders. So at 3-month time point, you get a course reminder. At 6 months, 10 months, and at 12 months. Okay, at 12 months, we start to say, hey, wrap up, start wrapping up. If you haven't done things, submit your assessments. We will be okay till 18 months, but come 18 months, in really extraneous circumstances, will give you a little bit more extension. Some of the past UK people know how lenient we've been, but we cannot be more lenient than 20 to 21 months. After that, it is a re-enrollment fee, which you all know is been, and literally we've hardly ever charged it. Do we get 18 months overall? Yes, you do. You get 18 months overall is the maximum. Okay, you can finish in 12 too. You don't have to. You can finish earlier. But whenever the finish point is, the program finishes for you at that point and you become an alumni. Okay, I've also created this in a flow chart that I think I haven't, I think this is uploaded to your e-learning portal. This is more for beginners who've just started, you know, they just made their payment, they completed the enrollment form. It's kind of giving them similar what I just told you in a table, just a little depiction of what to do. Okay, at the end of the day, we need 4 cases. You need to start one of them, and you've got to prepare your final submissions. You've got to do logbooks. Your unit 1 requires no patient, but the other units do. Recently, I redid all the marking checklist based on Dr. Alex Fu's feedback, based on some of our internal validation audits, and we've redesigned the marking checklist. So if you look at the handbook, and very soon the handbook's new version's coming out as well. So when you're thinking of assessments, guys, you would have all received this copy. And by the way, this is also in your e-learning portal. Don't miss it. It was recently added. Okay, I'm going to go up. You have a whole section on assessments and marking guides, and it's right there. Okay, please make sure this is your assessment instructions for participants. Okay, this is what I just showed you, most latest version, and it says up there updated Jan 2022. So this is the most latest version of your assessment guide, your instructions on how to prepare everything, how to upload, how to submit, what software to use, what to do, and what is the marking checklist? What are we going to mark you again? So you have to cover that. Okay, because if we can't tick, then that's something we can't grade. And also, guys, at all time points, please, your feedback's really important. If something doesn't make sense and something is not logical, or it's repetition, or anything that you think can be improved, please give me feedback. Dr. Alex Fu, when he did his first assessments, we realized so much that we redesigned the marking sheet. So as more people will submit, we will know a lot more. And I'm sure in a year to come, it'll, you know, or 2 years to come, it will actually be very slick for everyone. So here's some key points. I want you all to only submit via the e-learning portal. Okay, the Australian, all assignments are submitted via e-learning portal. And if I could show you where they are, you have the tests right under the units. Okay, so unit 1 starts here and it goes here, and you've got literally your 3 assignments right there. Okay, so you've got your knowledge quiz there, you've got your assignment part A, part B, and when you click on them, it again gives you the instructions and you can upload them. Okay, where are the others? Well, I'll just show you down below. The final assessments are right down below. Okay, so you can see right down the bottom are the final assessments required. You have case 1, case 2. Portfolio C contains 2 little kid cases together. Then you have portfolio D, where you have to show us evidence that you bonded some attachments, bonded a retainer, or provided a removable retainer. Portfolio E is about multidisciplinary treatment, creating a referral letter, finding a case that needs, and it could be a restorative I mean, we saw so many cases yesterday that need builds up, that have Bolton's discrepancy, that, you know, it could just be a simple peg lateral build up, or a simple case that requires endo management, that requires perio management, perhaps has recession even, you know, just something as simple as that. And how would you manage it? Your interview is something you're going to book via the Calendly link. And you've got the structured questions provided in your assessment guide. You have critical reflection report, plenty of examples provided. You have the journal logbook. It's an Excel spreadsheet. Just download and try and have a go at filling it. You don't have to actually fill in the attendance of everything you've done here. We already know that. We can look at the e-learning portal and extract don't know. For example, if you read an orthodontic article and it's, you know, it's something that you've done extra, please write it. If you are participating in an orthodontic blog, if you are, you know, simply even reading a perio article that relates to ortho, that would be fine too. If you're talking or visiting or attending a conference that is to do with dentistry in general, that's also a good thing to put down. It shows you're very active in your CPD activities. In the final knowledge quiz, 70 questions, they're all provided already for you. Dr. Alex was also passed this one, and it would be frustrating if you got 69 right and the 70th was wrong, because then you have to reattempt the whole quiz and do 70 questions again. And I'm so sorry that I cannot change that for you right now. So we have to get clever at it. I'm telling you right now, as you go along, it shows you the correct, incorrect answers. Circle them and make sure if you get something incorrect, you go back, fix it all together again. It'll be faster for you. People who've attempted the quiz will understand what I'm saying, because they'll know if they got one wrong, they had to redo the entire quiz again. And the last quiz is 70 questions. So it's quite long. So I want you to, and it takes about 20, 25 minutes to complete someone really advanced who knows the content inside out. But it could take you up to 50 minutes, 1 hour. It's not really timed. I think it might be timed. Sorry, don't get me wrong. It might be timed. Let me just double check on that. It might be time. Sorry, I just want to clear this and go back. It might actually be, when you click on it, it will actually tell you if it's timed. So yeah, it's 120 minutes, it's 2 hours, plenty of time. You can take your time. 100% pass mark is required. You must have a camera on your laptop when you're doing this, because when you open your camera, it's going to take a photo of you doing a quiz. We have to authenticate that it was you doing it, okay? So authentication is really important for the Australian system. So you have to open your camera. Some browsers we know don't work very well. So you have to use Google Chrome or Firefox, or even, I think some people have used a different one, but Google Chrome and Firefox should be okay as long as the camera has access to your browser, okay? So just make sure when you do the quiz, you do that, and you have a working good camera. It's probably better to attempt it on a laptop than a device, like a mobile device. Okay, so let's go back to what else I want to say. Right, so all submissions to be provided via e-learning portal. Combine multiple files as one. This is again a feature I'm so sorry I can't change. If it's, so for example, if you have a Word document and you have a PDF and you have a PowerPoint, all for the same assignment, you will need to somehow convert each file into the same format or PDF and combine all of them as one file. And again, we're looking into that. If it's really difficult for you, we have Brittany. Brittany, you can just send us the 3 different files. We'll do it for you, okay? But you do have to log in yourself. You have to actually upload it, you know, but we can help you a little bit on how to combine a file, or you send us the 3 different files, we'll combine it for you, send it back to you, and then you can upload it, okay? So it has to only be 1 file per assignment. The quiz, again, multiple attempts are available. If you get incorrect answers, it'll show you the correct answer. It's all about learning, and you have to attempt it till you get 100%. Reasonable adjustment is available. I really want you all to know that. If required, if something's not working for you, for example, you don't see any children in your practice at all, or you don't see any adults in your practice, or you need a bit more time to get some more children through, you know, contact us so we can look at some reasonable adjustment. For example, we have an option where if something happened and you cannot do an online quiz, we can give it to you as a handout and you can do it in paper. Now, I don't know if any one of us would do it like that, but we have provisions to have reasonable adjustments if the need be. So it really depends on individual situations. What has to happen though, no matter what adjustment I make, no matter what I tell you to do, and if you can't find a case, maybe I can provide you a scenario, okay? But I have to tick that marking checklist, and it has to be that you've done that work. So as long as I can tick the marking checklist and I can have evidence that you've done it, then basically we can do reasonable adjustment, okay? Now, there is also something called recognition by prior learning. What that means is if somebody can just say to me, look, I don't want to do your course. I know everything. I know everything at all. I don't need any content. I simply want to just submit all the assignments. We can allow that. It would be rare that somebody would come and say that, but we have that provision. If you're really advanced, you don't want to do the course, you can actually just simply do the assessments, but you would have no access to course content or learning material. And there's a very reasonable fee for that because it's simply assessments, and you can get the diploma just that way. Every Australian accredited qualification has that provision. Okay, as long as you satisfy their marking checklist and it is you who did it, they can actually give you the award without doing the course. Okay, so any questions so far? No, I think, look, I don't want to get too deep into some of these. I just want to tell you quickly about our new feature. We do have the online in-office videos. We have lots of videos for you that are shot in my office. That's when the pandemic hit, we had to pull that away. We've reintroduced.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I thought I'll ask a question if that's okay.
Yeah, sure.
So I work in public as well as private sector, and so the bigger challenge I face sometimes is due to lack of time, I'm not able to get the patients. So is it necessary to finish the treatment, or
question? No way we say necessary to finish the treatment, no way. There is a catch here though. You do have to do some sort of provision of a retainer. And that could be a removable retainer to a patient who's finished treatment ages ago and lost their retainer, or just simply wants a retainer made for
that
them.
I have done quite a few, but yeah. Okay.
That's about it. You don't have to finish. You just have to show evidence of bonding. And this is where, let me see if Dr. Alex Fu's here. I know he said he'd be, because he's WA, and I think he hasn't joined us yet, but I'm going to show you his examples in a sec. Okay, so let's see the submissions that because he's literally almost finished his submissions.
Sure.
Let's just see his. So by the way, guys, the new feature that we have also in office, you guys all got a flyer for it. So you can come and attend my office. Obviously with COVID, this has been very difficult. We used to have 10 people come in my office at a time. We had groups. Or even groups of 5 come in, and they would watch the team, they would watch how we work, how we talk to the patient, how we manage everything. And as you know, orthodontic practices are very fast-paced and quite stressful. So we just say, look, just stand back and observe everything we do, ask us questions. But just doing that, you learn a lot. Okay. So, and it's a rare opportunity because not many orthodontists will say, come and observe me. And you get to talk to our staff, ask questions, whatever. I think it's very valuable, especially to people who do a bit of aligners. So you guys can go on that calendly.com/bossortho. You can go book this for you. When you book it, there'll be a whole lot of terms and conditions. It's only available on Tuesday, Wednesday. Professional attire, you must be double vaccinated. We're even thinking of putting a rat test in there to make sure, like, we can do the rat test for you, but when you get there, we want to make sure it's negative. And all of that stuff. So you can go book it at this point in time. Because of COVID, we will only take up to 2 people a day when we're in the clinics, which is Tuesday, Wednesdays. And we cannot guarantee my availability every time, because there are times I'm not in the clinic and it could be very ad hoc, random. And but the entire team is treating patients, and you have a dental practitioner who's done this diploma, who's done the UK diploma, a few dental practitioners who have worked with us as well. They're also there, and they're very, very skilled and very knowledgeable. And I'm sure they can really guide you through everything. So, so you can go book it, have a look. I recommend it. Book early because, again, we cannot have too many people in our office, and we're literally just having you stand on the side, with PPE, and basically just be a little bit distant because of what's going on. Okay, we can't have people just hovering over, getting too close to the patient. So just, just if you want, this is an option for you as well. And most people, I find 2 days would be enough. Like you would see a lot, you would see a variety. And okay, so these are our previous UK awarded people. So far, no one's got the Australian award. When you guys get the dual, we're going to create dual plaques for you. There'll be dual certificates. And just today, we mailed 25 or 30 of them to every 3 months, we do a graduation. And we just mail so many, and many people have graduated with these. Some of you have already got your UK diploma and have jumped here, and I'm going to get the Australian. Also, YouTube channel. I'm trying to always pump videos in it, and just keep an eye on that. And the Slack channel. Some of you drop off the Slack. So we always have 2 forms of communication. Whenever we post a message, you've noticed we send an email and always post on Slack, because we know some of you drop off Slack, and we're just very concerned that important messages don't get to you. So please stay in touch with Slack, like at least check it once a day, because we're constantly releasing new webinars. We're always like finding guest lecturers. So sometimes new and exciting things happen very quickly. Okay, guys, so I'm just going to now, still checking if anybody sees Dr. Alex Fu, just let me know. I still can't see him. That's fine. I know he said he'll make it, but poor guy. Okay, let's go to some submission here now. Now, let me show you Dr. Alex Fu. So the hardest submissions are to be honest, your cluster assessments. Your unit 1, we already know half of you have done it, and you've done it really well. And in fact, without much help, okay, because you've got the past examples there. And I think it's pretty clear and it's pretty simple. So this is, for example, we redesign our marking checklist, because initially we used to portfolio A and B. A is about diagnosis, B is about treatment planning. So you would take a patient, and initially you used to submit portfolio A separately, B separately, but Dr. Fu actually said it doesn't make sense, might as well do it all in one presentation. And we said, yeah, we agree with you actually. So we changed our marking sheet, we changed the way to do things. Now, your templates that we provided, please remember, they're simply templates. You will have to add more content, or you will have to modify them accordingly. Because some people, if you just follow the template, it could be erroneous. Follow the marking checklist. So this is one of his portfolio case. So this is a case 1 that he's presenting. You have to present an adult and a child very comprehensively. So this is his comprehensive child case that actually is very good. And you can see the level of photography, how he introduces. Now, everyone will add their own flair to their presentations, but this is actually the template that is given to you. So you have to show us, how did you take records and examinations? So you have to show us case notes. How do you show case notes? Well, we've given you an examination summary PDF. You have to fill that out. And what was your clinical protocol on patient examination? What clinical protocol means, do you do consent on the day? Even a COVID safe protocol, anything that is unique to you that you do at patient, or do you send them pre-consultation information? Do you give them information on radiation and x-rays, things like that, anything that is unique to your practice. Then obviously you're talking about chief complaint, treatment expectations, medical history, social history, dental history, and you fill those in. You have clinical photos. Now, these are really good quality photos. You can see very standardized, natural head position. The head is not tipped down or tipped up. The photographs are pretty diagnostic. They're good. And especially when you look at a mixed dentition case, it can be tricky to take good photos. And then he talks about patient needs and preferences. What's her motivator for treatment? What are the contraindications? Then Dr. Fu talks about, all the treatment options. No treatment is an option, always an option. And you must always mention that. Delayed treatment, early treatment, what are the benefits of it, risks of it. Now, this is why when you do your coaching session, I personally don't think you should waste it for like a whole lot of your other cases that you're never going to present for the diploma. You have every month access to me to discuss a variety of your cases, okay? But use your one-to-one coaching to kind of have a go at this, because if you show me this, I'll be saying to you, actually, you could write that as a treatment option, and the risk would be this, or the benefit would be that, right? So if you actually present to me the case that you think you've got good records and would make it to a portfolio case, and it's you've got done very detailed analysis, taken really good records, please start populating this template. Everyone knows where to get this template? Does everyone know here? Can someone put in chat where to get this template? Want to make sure we're on the same page. Where do you download all your templates of these PowerPoints? Oh, hand up. Oh, whose hand up? Yeah, you can talk. Everyone's allowed to talk. Daniela, your hand's up. Come on, guys. Where'd you get these templates? Daniela. Why is no one talking? I'm going to not talk.
From the portal.
Yes. The orientation resources, please, right on the top, the templates are there, marking guides are there, everything is there. I want you to have your marking guide next to you, template next to you, and start putting these photos, because this, what Dr. Fu said, and he's a very advanced learner, took him ages. He said, this took me a very long time. And he was like, took me weeks. One case took him weeks. Okay. And this guy already does a lot of ortho. He's very advanced. He's attended a lot of courses. He had a very good knowledge of it already going into the program. And so that's why he did say he's going to try his best to jump in today. Let me see if I have a message from him. I'm just going to message him. See, he did say he would jump in just at the very last 15 minutes. Sorry, I'm just sending him a message. Okay. Right. So, you know, look at those photographs, really good diagnostic. And it's hard to do that on children. He's done a good job. Then his extra oral findings, the facial symmetry. You've got extra oral findings, macro, mini, micro aesthetics. Now, of course, for a child, sometimes they haven't had complete growth. You can say not relevant for a child. The teeth haven't come down yet enough, for example. You cannot evaluate everything. Buccal corridors, for example, might be relevant. Frenums haven't matured yet. Intraoral findings, Boltons. You've all got your digital portals, so the Boltons from there. Again, intraoral findings. It goes on, and this is a template that actually lets you write down whatever you want, right? You can add an additional slide and keep doing it. Then he's taken some photographs from his clin check at pre-treatment. Then he's put his radiographs and a quick little summary of the two radiographs. He's done a cephalometric analysis. Now, you only in your program have to do one, and I really don't want you to go too crazy, okay? Because I don't actually really teach you cephalometrics. The only reason we're doing so you understand interincisal angle, upper incisor angulation to palatal plane, lower incisor angulation to mandibular plane. I'm happy if you even do it on a PowerPoint and drop some lines and, you know, give me an estimation of it. I'm happy if you just did a morphological assessment, to be honest. I don't need everything degree and linear measurements. It's just about knowing that you understand, like even an airway analysis, that there's no, the airway is patent. There's no adenoidal mass there. There's no tonsillar mass there. So I'm happy for you to even do a morphological assessment rather than numbers, okay? So, but some people already have access to, there's a free software, guys, write it down if you don't know, CEPHX, CEPHX, CEPHX. Sorry, one sec. Hi, so sorry. So basically, we've got the cephalometrics. I don't need all this. I don't even look at it. I just go, ooh. And so CEPHX, CEPHX, they'll give you up to 3 free cephalometric analysis. You just put your ceph there and it guides you how to do it with S, N point, A point, SNA, SNB. It'll guide you. So you can do a few little numbers for me if you really want. but you don't have to do Ceph analysis for every patient, only one of them, okay? And it tells you, I think it's the portfolio of the child. There's a mixed dentition space analysis, which is about estimation of space. So is there enough space for the canines and premolars to erupt? Is there incisor crowding? Then how did you take your photographs? Which camera did you use? Dr. Alex Food is very cute and clever. He just put a picture of his own camera there to go, that's the camera I used. And that's my settings for the camera, because we have to validate you understand photography. Then basically, there's a bit of repetition in it. And then it talks about how did you make the patient comfortable while you were scanning or taking impressions? And he basically gives his tips here. He said, well, be as fast as possible. Do a tell, show, do technique. So make sure you check with the patient they're okay during scanning. Consider a rest break during the scan. So he's actually giving his pointers. So, these little questions the template will guide you on. But don't just follow the template. Sometimes have a look at the marking. You've got to combine the two. Because if you just follow the template, there are some things that you don't have to go into too much detail, because I will just tick it off very quickly. Okay, and there's some things you have to go in a lot of detail. So look at the marking checklist. So here's his digital models. He's got the raw STL files. You don't have to, but he's gone above and beyond. His model review again, space analysis review, and he's given his little verdict of what he thinks, how much space loss or space gain there is, a little record taking. So we asked for case notes. Now we've given you an examination form to download and fill it and attach it. He literally just took a screenshot of his computer to show me his entire examination form. And I'm very happy with that. Okay, really, really happy with that. That was his clinical protocol. People have asked me what that means, and I said, just something that you do for your new patients. So this is his clinical protocol. There's a reception check-in, there's a medical dental social history documented, that you don't forget to do that. You're doing an introduction to the patient, you're understanding their emotional needs, you did a full comprehensive intraoral, extraoral examination and charting. So everything that you did, it's just really, really good to write it down. Then after the patient leaves, how you upload the scan, how you go into ClinCheck, how you revise your ClinCheck, you can talk about that. And then you go into the diagnosis of this patient. So the same patient continues on, and you now have to do your diagnosis, this famous 4 columns that we use for every case presentation. Then we go into the diagnosis. This is still going on, different treatment options for appliances. And so there is a bit of repetition here again, because you're now going into treatment planning. There's a problem list. So it is very, very involved. You're just seeing this. Okay, guys, this is just one case. So this is not like the UK case that we see in the different case discussion webinars. There's a consent form. You have to show me the consent form or that you used. Okay, so basically this Dr. Alex Fu's done his own personalized consent form, and he's literally just took a screenshot of it and put it in the PowerPoint. Okay, I'm really happy with that. You don't have to attach separate documents. He just took screenshots of everything and put it into the PowerPoint. So sorry, Dr. B, but will a lot of previous bits be repeated between the two patients? No, not every little thing. This, as you see, this is all different things now. Consent forms, treatment letter. What did he actually do? So he decided to do an expander for this patient first, and that was his functional appliance. Then he went into early treatment with clear aligners. This is a form that we provide, how he told the patient how to wear rubber bands. And you can see here, right? He's doing class 2 rubber bands here for the patient. And then he really goes into detail about the case. Now, you don't, this is simply planning at this stage. We don't need to see you've started the case, but how would you plan this? Early treatment with clear aligners. And he's actually shown us progression because he's treated this case. He's shown aligner 20, aligner 20, and now aligner 50. What's happening? We do not need treatment. Okay, so if you don't have or you haven't started treatment, that is okay. Retention options, he's just talking about how he will retain the kid after he finishes treatment, she finishes treatment. And it just goes on. So as you can see, guys, this is very lengthy. and how he would finalize treatment plan. So there's definitely some repetition here. I can see there is some repetition. These are his forms he gives to the patient. So he's put everything here. And I really love this. So these to us, when we look at the marking checklist, for example, so we would compare this against, let's open the marking checklist for, you've got the marking checklist here. And it's very lengthy, obviously, because your PowerPoint's very lengthy, but you can see how we're marking it. So we're going to mark the adult. So the same presentation is made for an adult and one for a child, and it has different questions and elements. So we will be seeing, okay, has he done this or no? Did he take a detailed medical, social, and dental history to determine the needs and expectations? I think he was very detailed. He's shown evidence of all of that. Did he provide the patient with clear and accurate advice about treatment options and the associated risks, benefits, and costs? This is really important to make sure that you understand your scope and that you're working safely. The only way we understand this is by seeing your consent form. And you don't have to show us patient information. We don't want to know your patient's name. We don't want to see their signature. You cannot have any identifiers there. We simply want to know what kind of information you give. So you can take screenshots, you can, attach a video or whatever of you doing it. But I think video would be a lot harder to submit. I would say a photograph of any written information you give them would be enough. This same question gets assessed two ways. We're assessing it here. And then when you do the interview with me, the Viva, I will be asking something very similar again. Give me a bit of a consent for a child. The child wants to go ahead with treatment. How would you talk to the parents? So we assess each question in two ways, in two different types of assessments. So as you can see, we have to tick off all of this. Did Dr. Alex Fu identify orthodontic treatment contraindications from the provided information and refer for specialists if required? Did he provide relevant patient information regarding patients' requirements for orthodontics? So did he ask them about what kind of compliance is needed? Was there an agreement reached? Did he assess facial symmetry, facial proportion, and note anomalies that may impact treatment? Did he diagnose the health of jaw joints? So how do we know this? The only way we know this is that he gives us a little bit of a detail of his TMJ exam or the notes from the TMJ exam. Did he look at the mouth opening? Any restrictions from the normal range? So all of these things we have to tick off. So you have to give us evidence of that. Now, some things we didn't ask is, did he do the treatment? But he provided us that. Now, that is additional information we don't need. So it's great to have it, but we don't need it. Okay, so if you follow this checklist, you see how detailed it is. You will find that majority of the times we will be, if we can tick it off, we know you've done the job. Then we have the part B. Did he determine and document malocclusion, other physical abnormalities? Did he assess quality of life? You see that table, he talked about quality of life. So he did do that. Pain perception and compliance. Did he categorize findings that indicate need for specialist involvement? Did he outline risks and benefits of no treatment versus treatment, which he actually did clearly? I remember seeing the table of that. Did he determine and document priorities? So a problem list, what's the priority to attack here? So this is all, guys, very detailed. I mean, this is a marking checklist of just one assessment, okay? So as you can see, it takes us a lot of time to mark it as well and give you feedback. And I just want to see here how it's going. Okay. Now let me show you his other unique, and I really enjoyed actually marking his. He's got also, so I've shown you a case presentation of his. He's also got a, I'm going to show you this one. Can you guys see my screen? It says portfolio C. Can you see portfolio C? I think so. Yes. Can anyone tell me if you can see portfolio C there written? Thank you. Okay, so this is portfolio C that only talks about children. It's all about growth assessment. Okay, so again, he's going quite in depth into it. There is a template. This is the template that we gave, but you might have to add to it. If you look at the checklist, the marking checklist, and you see something not in the template, let us know. We will revise it, or we can redesign it. But the template is just a guide, and you can always add some more slides to it. So he's basically using the same case again, and we're okay with that because now you're assessing it in a different way. And I think I'm doing this right. I think, no, this one we gave back to him for, let me see another one. Sorry, this is another case of his portfolio C. So you can see he's assessing another little kid. And this is a little bit of a shorter presentation. And he talks about how the palate's narrow. I just love his depictions. And I mean, he's put a lot of effort into it. And the risks and benefits of correcting her crossbite, how he'll correct it. Doesn't matter if you don't do clear aligner for one of your child cases. He ended up doing an expander, which, you know, could be a removable expander, could be because one child you have to treat an orthodontic problem, a growing problem, or interceptor occlusion. Whether it's with clear aligners, expander, doesn't matter. I love how we documented the photograph of it, the treatment letter that he gave to the parents, you know, how he put a separator in there before he banded. I mean, every stage recorded. Now, I believe Dr. Alex has been doing this for a long time. He documents everything. So it's fantastic to have that kind of photograph depiction of step by step, how he did it. He obviously went and placed braces, and now he's showing me the patient's currently in treatment. Now, this is not part of the assessment. We don't need to see that they're in treatment right now. But the fact that he designed a functional treatment to correct the crossbite, that is more important. And then he talks about that's his early treatment with functional appliance and how he's achieved it. Then we have, let me just pause here, guys, because I'm going into, is it okay to use the same case, especially for the child case? Yes, it's okay. I think if you read the instructions, I do say that it's okay. You can use one of the child from your, you know, so basically we say get 4 cases. It could be up to 2 adults, 2 children, or it could be 3 children, 1 adult. We have to have 1 adult, 1 child. Then you can reuse one of the child. It's okay. All right, but don't reuse it. Like you can reuse it 1 time. It's okay. Then we have the portfolio. I want to show you his portfolio D. This is really good. Sorry, not this one. Just one sec, not this one. Sorry, this one, guys. The portfolio D, again, we've given you a template. Now, Dr. Fu actually went and he's put a lot of alcohol there. His starting picture is like, I think he was just like, I'm over this. And so this is about getting a multidisciplinary approach in your practice. So I've given you this case study. So he's used my case study. You don't have to get new patients for this part of the assignment. You use my patients I've given you. And I give you this is my patient as well. I've given you a scenario. And I've said, and this is the same scenario you use throughout the course. So you get to know these patients very well. In Unit 1, you use this, you use it here. And we talk about, you know, what are the treatment plans here? What are the different options? Because one of the kid has got missing laterals, and where the other lady has got perio with lower incisors that need extraction. So we're really talking about how to do multidisciplinary treatment for these 2 cases. And you can see he's looking at referring to an orthodontist for one of them and a prosthodontist or implant surgeon for one of the kids. For the second case, periodontist is involved because it's an adult case, definitely needs a perio, possibly a prosthodontist as well. So he's creating some sort of an interdisciplinary pathway for her. And then he's kind of showing how he's going to communicate with them. And you know, how the problems would happen. Would we fix the dental problems first or orthodontic problems first? And what are the different problems here for both cases? Now, remember, you guys are given the cases with a little bit of case history there, okay, with the age. Now, all you have to do is literally show me your referral letter. So when I've also given you a template, by the way. There's a template of referral letter in your e-learning portal. When you go to the Unit 7, which deals with multidisciplinary treatment, the Unit 7 has a lot of templates for you. Certain units will guide you straight in there with the stuff you need to present this. So he's got a couple of referral letters here. Then you have to do a little bit of, how you would facilitate all of this. We often just send a referral letter and done. And how he would communicate with the medical professional. So he's basically saying, look at his second paragraph. In urgent circumstances, I may directly phone call, text, target the specialist. On reflection for future protocols, I might consider team meetings, maybe having regular team meetings. And so he's kind of already reflected on how difficult it is when you have interdisciplinary cases. And he's going, actually, in the future, I might actually start to do some team meetings. And then, you kind of have a slight treatment plan here with steps of the plan. And you have for the case 2, the perio case, the adult case, he's already got, what was going to happen here and how he's going to now modify the treatment plan. It's really, really brilliantly done. Now, Alex took, I'm sure, a lot of time doing these. He's also talking about need for teeth whitening, any restorative work, because this kid has got missing laterals. So obviously canines have to be built up. So how he would do it. Now he's used a DSD as guide because possibly Dr. Fu's done DSD, but he's also kind of showing some sort of what he's going to do here, how he's going to mimic the 1-2. You guys have a couple of very good papers in your multidisciplinary unit, Unit 7, a couple of papers talking about missing laterals and how to restore the canines to mimic laterals. So he's kind of using these approaches really well. He's also using that envelope. I told you this is the most important diagram in orthodontics, is this beautiful profits envelope of discrepancy, okay? So just make sure, guys, you have this printed. So he's kind of bringing it back to that. I really like it. And it really shows me that this person has really imbibed all the biggest elements of the course that I want him to know. And that is obviously going to be a very safe practitioner. He really understands. On top of that, you do have a facial injectables lecture. So there's a couple of questions on that. So you want to talk a little bit about facial injectables as an adjunct to orthodontic treatment. And he's kind of mentioned it and risks and benefits. And you have a lecture to watch so you can answer those questions. Okay, guys, one sec. And let me show you portfolio E, then I'm going to just stop for questions. Okay, just the last portfolio. The last portfolio was just recently added when you joined the course. It wasn't in the original guide, and it was added, I think, around October, November, because we realized in another audit that we weren't assessing certain things. And it's important for you guys to have competency that I assess it. So one of the things we were like, if this is a fully online course, how do we know you know how to bond attachments? Now, I know this is can be really silly because you guys are dentists, but at the end of the day, we're dealing with regulatory bodies that want to see evidence. So, so basically what we have here is what Dr. Fu's done. I said, just show me your bonding protocol for Invisalign. Now I'm happy for you to simply write me a protocol, but he's gone ahead and just taken a few photographs as he's bonding some attachments. Pumice, edge, dry, template being loaded, bond, cure. I mean, very simple. I'm sure it took him a bit of time, but this is how he showed it, how he removed the template. It's just seriously brilliant. The IPR that he did, what he uses for IPR, he just took a photo like that. And I mean, I'm happy you don't all have to follow what he's doing, but I think his depiction is like, without doubt, these original photos, they're his. Then he's showing a troubleshooting technique. So we have a question on what if something goes wrong, how would you troubleshoot here? And he's showing a technique where he's used to extrude an incisor into the aligner. And basically, we want to know your retainer experience. So you have to either show us that you've placed a retainer or adjusted a retainer or issued a retainer. So he's obviously placed this retainer and he's shown us a photograph. And then he's also shown us a very different type of retainer here, the fiber force, which is a clear fiber here. And you can see it's very aesthetic. You can hardly see it. And there's the picture there. So not only he showed us one, he showed us two, and he talks a little bit about it, how he prepared the surfaces, what he did. And in this example, I bonded a fixed palatal retainer. What type of retainer did he use? He used the Retanium wire. And I just really like this entire depiction. And we can see that it is his original work. So we know that he's not only treatment planned comprehensively, now he's also delivered the treatment. So in a nationally recognized training framework, he has the knowledge and skills now to do clear aligner treatment, according to our perspective. Okay, guys, so I'm going to stop here, and I'm going to now let you guys ask questions. I really want you to be frank and honest. Firstly, I don't want you to be scared, because you will all get through this, and I will make sure you do. That's why I want you to use your coaching sessions really wisely. Prepare your templates as much as you can, because the more you prepare, the more feedback I'm going to give you. And the more feedback I give you, your portfolios could be ready, literally ready for submission by the time 12, 18 months comes by. Some of you are asking me, do we all have 18 months? Please look at your original invoices. Some people have slightly different terms and conditions. That's because they jump from one course to the other, or we had to work out different time frames, this and that. But on average, if you've joined us as a new student and started the dual accreditation program, it does say you have access up to 18 months on average, okay? And we're okay if you took 18 months. We're not gonna really bother people if you don't finish in 12. You will get a reminder at 12, but we're not gonna really make it a big issue. Okay. Okay, questions. I think Dr. Alex was not here yet. Questions. This was very comprehensive. Firstly, can I have some people on the audio, because I think it really helps, guys, if you talk to me. Okay, questions. No questions?
I just had a really quick question. Sorry. Obviously, I've noticed that in some of the webinars, if people presented sort of simpler cases, is that okay if we use sort of like simple relapse cases as opposed to more complex, like class 2 deep bite type cases initially? Or does that not matter?
It would be fine. It would be fine. I don't think his cases were really that complex. It would be fine. It's just very detailed. Even a simple class 1 case can have all the details. Okay. So it doesn't matter the nature of the case, actually. In fact, the more severe it is, the more we're likely to want to know. In the marking checklist you see there, the marking checklist is it warranted here for an orthodontist referral? And if it is, and you have identified it, that it's quite complex, then that marking checklist is ticked off. So look, somewhat the marking checklists are subjective. We have to be, this is case-based analysis. You know, that's why we have the quizzes, which are more objective. Then we have cases that are subjective. Then we have some report writing. I haven't gone into the critical reflection report because, you know, we've received so many of those and we know that they're very good. And you've got a template. It's literally right, bit of repetition again. You're literally giving me a summary of your case and literally writing what you've learned. Okay, so it just needs to be 1,000 words, which is about 4 A4 pages with 12 size font. So about 3.5, 4 pages will be happy with that. And generally you have, that's not the hard one to do. So any other questions so far, guys? Tell me how you're feeling, because you're very quiet. The questions have stopped. So I think you're feeling a bit overwhelmed. No one's
Dr. V, just with the people that are transferring from the UK accreditation, it's just assessment 3 and 5 that we don't have to do, right? The rest we just have to resubmit.
Yes, so the critical reflection you don't have to do, and the knowledge quiz, no. The portfolio cases, look, you can see how detailed they were, wasn't it? Very detailed, what I showed Alex has done.
Yeah.
And with them being so detailed, you have to kind of redo them. You've already got the cases, you just have to write more about them.
Yeah.
You don't have to start treatment of every one of those 4 cases. You simply have to show us any case. Even if you assisted someone else and they're bonding attachments, just show us, take some quick photos. Hey, this is the steps to bonding that I took.
So there's assessment 3 and 5. It's not like we have to resubmit it on the online portal, right? It'll just.
Oh, that's a good question. Actually, we don't know yet. And this is something we don't know yet. I think it wouldn't be, because we know you've done it. Actually, it should be fine. We know you've done it. We have evidence of it. You've already got your UK diploma. I think it's fine. You don't have to do it again. No, it's fine. Yeah, we will simply just give you the award based on recognition prior learning. And even 2 of your cases you can use, you just have to write a bit more detailed notes about it, like the consent. You have to write a little bit more about treatment options, a little bit more about risks and benefits, because the UK requirement's very short. It's really actually very little. And this one gets you thinking. So what will happen when you start your cases? If you're starting the course right now, I want you to start thinking about your cases, because until you really go through all the content in that e-learning portal, I think some of those things you can't answer very well. So as you do, this is my recommendation, as you watch certain lectures, and if you feel, hey, this is relevant to my case is a deep bite one that I'm going to present, or this lecture is really relevant because I'm using a certain attachment. Okay, let me just go into my PowerPoint right now and add this. If you work side by side with the outcome we're wanting to the lecture content we're giving, I think it'll be quite beneficial. It'll be quite easy for you to do it. It just means a little bit more work at the time. You just always, I want you to be more mindful of your assessments. If you're mindful of your assessments from day 1 that are required, I think it'll be fine. Because that was one of Alex's feedback, the amount of time it took him. And he said, and he's relatively advanced and has a lot of cases and has done quite a few orthodontic courses. So he knew what he was talking about pretty fast. He got there, but that still took him 3-4 weeks per case. And that is after he had consumed a lot of the content. So I really think I want you to start looking at it side by side. Okay. And that's why we say for some beginners, don't rush it, take 18 months. If you have to be honest, we're not going to bother you much, even though we say 12, we give extensions, we're pretty lenient, but there comes a point where we cannot, because there is re-enrollment fees from everywhere for us. So that is really the time point is 18, maximum 20 months for us, where we will say you have to finish now. And to be honest, you can take 4 years to finish this course. You just have to pay a re-enrollment fee every year, which is about 3,000. So if someone said, you know what, I'm really learning here, I want to just spend a lot more time, I want to take my time, I want to do this in 3 years, that's okay. Every extra year you take, that would be a small re-enrollment fee, but you have access to the content, webinars, everything again and again and again, okay? So you can take your time, but obviously there comes a time you should finish. And we've had that in the past. Most people have finished reasonably well, but you know, the assessments were very short for UK. This is really detailed. So guys, can I get some feedback of how some of you feel you're going to attack this? From looking at this webinar, I just want to get a conversation going here, because we need to work through this, because this is quite involved, right? That's why you have more CPD here. So tell me, where is everyone at? Do you think you can achieve this reasonably in 18 months?
Yeah, I think it's doable.
Oh, really? Good. Good, because I think it is. And I can see some, when everyone goes quiet, I feel like something's happened here. Okay, there's a chat here. Someone's asking, struggling to find the time to put in 400 hours CPD, to be honest. Yeah, you know what, take your time. As I said, there is none of you have to finish in 18 months. There's no compulsion. it is just more cost effective for you. And perhaps I think it's time effective. I can tell you that I understand your positions, but I'll tell you something. I have full-time orthodontic practice, and boss is full-time almost for me. Plus I did my MBA full-time in 1 year, and that was a degree. Now I'm not saying you can do all of this, and that was crazy because I nearly burnt out by the end of it. But I know it's possible, but I didn't have kids. So I give you that. Some of those moms out there didn't have kids. And I did have a dog though. So, you know, 2 kids. Okay. So that's why take your time. I don't want you to feel, I want you to know there's an option to do it in 3 years. There's an option to do it in 4 years. And to be honest, that cost of 3,000 is not a lot. Okay. And so if for those people who are finding this really overwhelming, it's okay. Like do it in 4 years if you want to. All right, go slow at it. I mean, I don't want you to take so long because just in case we have many changes in the program. But at the same time, I want you to understand that there is a bit of leeway here. Okay, it's not like kicked out because you haven't completed in time. It is more like we will start urging you. The best thing I can tell you is please start putting your patients in that PowerPoint template, not the UK template. Use the one we've given you for Australians. Start putting things in there. And when you book your one-on-one, I want to see that template because it's the only way we'll get there, right? I'm only enrolling tonight, so agree, feeling a bit overwhelmed. But I haven't started looking over any of the content yet, so I think I'll feel better once I go through some of it. Yeah, like don't worry. I will get you all through. Don't worry. You are all dentists. You've done fillings. You do endo. You do implants. Please, this is not even like treatment. This is simply planning and diagnosis. You can do it. And there's a reasonable adjustment. So if you guys can't find the patients, we can give you some scenarios and give you an alternative type of questioning. So that is also possible. But just remember the marking checklist. We have to just tick everything off that. So start your base from the marking checklist and those templates. I think Alex has messaged me. He's still saying he's not going to be. What's 5:30 WA time? It's about now. He said, look, I'll really try. I'm literally just finishing late. Look, I think he may not be there, but I'm happy for him to perhaps write something for you because, you know, he basically said it's a bit tight for him because he's just finishing work at 5. What I am going to do is maybe get him on another webinar, or maybe I'm going to get him to write us a little summary of what he found and his tips. And he has already, we've had lengthy chats and he's given us a lot of tips already, but I think it'll be nice coming from him for you guys. So besides that, any other questions? Do you have, you know, maybe this has given you the motivation. Thanks, Susanna. That's okay. Great to have tips where to focus going forward. Good. Guys, I just want you to know, thanks for the vote of confidence. You will get through. I'm telling you, you will get through. Someone's raising hand. Hey, Samaya, talk. Let's talk, guys. Just unmute your microphone and ask me a question.
No, it's okay. I think it was a mistake. By mistake, I just raised the hand. I'm just trying to digest everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Thank you so much.
Don't be overwhelmed, because if you didn't have the one-on-one, I understand. You have one-on-one with me, use it, but don't use it too early. Beginners who are just starting, don't just book in one-on-one. I think get ready, read some content. That's why I want you to attend live webinars every month, because you see other people's cases, you get the confidence. By 3-4 months, start looking into booking. You're going to have, you know, 3 sessions. Now, I'm not one of those who's going to sit there and count. You will get a reminder. The moment you've done your 3 sessions, you get a reminder. But if you need a 4th session, if you need an extra session with me, it's not a problem, okay? If we need an extra group session, again, in 3 or 4 months to go through assessments to provide you more examples, you simply have to message me in the group, the 10905 NAT Slack group. Simply say, we think together as a group, I want you to engage with each other as well. That would be very nice. And I want you to simply in that group say, look, I think I'm feeling overwhelmed about this. What are the solutions? And whether it's me coming on board, or, you know, I'm happy to do extra sessions. Also, remember that if you are going to come to my office and if travel's allowed, you can also discuss cases there. You could also potentially look, I don't want you to do any treatments on the patients, but you could potentially, you know, help us take photographs. You could assist. You could actually watch how we edit. You could get some hands-on experience there. Maybe at scanning, you can have a go. But some, you know, most of you are doing all of that anyways. The only thing you wouldn't be able to do, like, we don't want you to do treatments for the patients because they don't know you and they may not accept that. So, but you know, if we can slip you in here and there to do certain things, we'll get you involved. You can help treatment plan, you can help give notes to the technicians as I see the patient, help us with preparing a consent, individualized consent for the patient. So you can do things like that when you come into the office program or the office observation days, and you can use that time to really learn how it's applied clinically. But I personally think you guys will all get through. I designed this course myself. There was a lot of industry feedback and we had to get to this level of assessment. I've had this heavily audited over and over again. We have not just me as the assessor, we also have a couple of other people who've done the diploma who are also helping me do these assessments, and they're like our backup assessors. So we have a couple of people agreeing on decisions if there's subjectivity. And so, you know, we're doing our best to make sure that we don't really bother you too much, that we get the relevant information, and somehow we make this as doable as possible for you. So, so thank you. So Monica has a question. Hi, Dr. V, at what stage in your progression would you suggest is an appropriate time to do the in-house clinical session? Thanks. That's a great question. I'd say within 2-3 months or 3-4 months of starting, and come again in about, if you're a beginner, I think one at the start and one towards the end. If you're relatively advanced, like some people are coming from, like we have somebody who's coming from Victoria or Tasmania, and I said to them, just come 2 days in a row, like, you know, don't just fly in, fly out twice. And with COVID, just if you're coming 2 days, spend a couple of days with us together. And, you know, you'll still get a variety of cases. So the only days we're booking you is when we have patients and we have the team working, and you will get a variety of cases to see. So I would say if you're an absolute beginner, maybe one at the start, one at the end, but it really doesn't matter. Traditionally, a few years ago before COVID, we used to do an in-office session over a weekend. We used to have 10 people come. We used to have lots of patients. The patients knew dentists were observing. You know, they allowed all of that. And we used to only have 2 days at a time. We never actually had a whole series of sessions. We just had 2 days because most people felt by 2 days they'd learned a lot. And majority said how amazing it was just watching it all in action. And we got probably fantastic feedback. One of the top feedback we get is monthly case discussion webinars. And that's because you guys haven't experienced in office. But when someone does in office, hands down, they will say that is the best element of the program, because they actually see an orthodontist office in operation and reality of what I teach you. So I think that is something I highly recommend if you guys can do it. But look, COVID travel, I'm so sorry. And I don't want one of those situations where you guys finish the course and you want to do it in 2 years after that. You know, we can't guarantee everything. So within your enrollment year, try to have it done. Any other questions? No? Look, guys, so far, the unit 1, half of you've completed it. And I can tell you it's very, very high level. Every one of you's done very well. So if you've done so well already at unit 1, I'm telling you from what I'm seeing, you guys are going to do well in the rest of the assessments. Your record taking just has to lift a little bit. Just put a bit more thought into your PowerPoints, just a bit more detail into it. And of course, you know, a bit more time in your e-learning portal. We do recommend 5 to 7 hours a week. And that's more for beginners. But if you can do, if you're intermediate advanced, you might get through 3-4 hours a week. Okay, guys, I think Alex is not here yet. And I think he ain't gonna make it. So we're going to actually stop. I think he's just messaged me. Guys, do you want Alex to come online? He said he just got home. Would you like him to come online? I think I'm gonna say yes. All right, he's just messaging me right now. All right. And of course, this is recorded, so you'll get a recording. And I'm just going to send him an invite to make sure he's able to come. Just one sec, guys. I'm just messaging him. I'm just going to pause this recording. Sorry, one sec. Okay, do we have Alex here? Okay, guys, sorry, just give me one sec. I've just paused the recording, guys. Can we just hang on? He's saying he's just coming online, just in 2 minutes. Oh, here he is. Hi,
Hello.
Alex. Hi.
Hey.
I'm so sorry that this was at 7 p.m., not 8.
Okay.
Can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Okay, thank you so much. After such a busy day to just jump online like that, I really
No,
appreciate
that's
it.
okay. Sorry, I'm late. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. Alex, listen, I've been through all your submissions, excellent quality, and I've had to share them, share with everyone. We had a few people before, but we're recording this webinar.
Yeah.
I think I really would love for you to, because you're the first one who's gotten close to almost completion, is, all the tips that we kind of discussed and the feedback you've given so far. And I'd really love for you to, whatever, share your screen if you want and give us your best verdict of, how's the best way everyone should tackle this?
Okay. Well, I think for me, I really just looked through the booklet and I tried to, so for the final exam, for example, I just saw that there were the questions in the handbook. So just going through all of that and the components that I needed to include into the portfolios. It was funny for me because I did portfolios back to front. So I did the easier ones, the retainers, getting that portfolio. I think that's portfolio E done first because I just felt portfolio A and B and maybe C were quite big chunks to do. And then looking at the patients to find, basically start doing it now, find 2 or 3 patients that you can. So the requirements said maybe 2 adults and 2 kids, but you could do, to make things easier, 2 kids only and 1 adult. And then work out the diagnostics and the treatments. Start that now. So I highly recommend just try your best to start those assignments now, even if you may not know so much about orthodontics. You would know how to take photos at least, and have your x-rays ready, and just get that all required. Just like you say, Dr. V, like, so that you can have that case discussion and the coaching sessions together early. And then I really sort of dedicated maybe like a whole weekend or two just to get like one portfolio done. Literally kind of almost like I was back at dental school, or a couple of hours every night for like the lectures, and I had it on my iPad and like while I was at the gym, just to try and hammer out all those lectures, and on like double speed ×2. I've got some notes here. Review the exam questions in the booklet.
Yeah, you can share your screen, or you can go over the notes, whatever you like. I love it, by the way. You're helping us so much with feedback. So, and we just went through your portfolios. It's just very innovative. I love how you presented all the information and what you've written.
Thank you. Yeah, so base the portfolio PowerPoints from the course handbook. The template, use the template as a guide. So the PowerPoint template was my guide, but what was really important was to just double check the components that were required in the handbook.
That's the marking guide, right? The marking guide is what we have to tick off. So it's important that all those elements are ticked.
Correct. And then like with the logbook especially, so currently like reading the articles, like you already provide us with so many articles. And then so I'll make sure that I quickly log that in, the date and the time and everything. I think that's important going forward, even after the course. Just shows that we're keeping up to date on like the studies that we might be reading. And that's just good to know, especially if we ever get like pinged or audited by somebody. It just shows that, oh, this guy's like actively reading and taking really complete records. That's so important. So where I've made my mistakes in the portfolios is maybe not taking enough records, like a lat ceph here or some photo or something. And that's basically it for my tips, Dr. V.
And the knowledge quiz, the one I said frustrating, if you get one answer wrong, like if you got 69 right and the 70th, the last question wrong, then it's very annoying that you have to redo the whole thing. Yep. And your strategy was, as you go marking it, just circle it in the handbook, right? So that
you
have to reattempt it, it's faster.
Yeah, exactly. So I wasn't sure how the attempts would work out. So I was kind of like, I read all the questions and then I did all the lectures, watched all the lectures, and like if there was something that rang a bell or she was asking a question about this, I'll circle it on the handbook. So the past questions or the questions that you provided. But now that I've sat it, it's kind of like no stress. So just sit the final exam when you're ready, and don't panic if you get a question wrong, because you can reattempt it straight away, and the answer provided for your feedback, I guess.
So because you can't get it wrong, you will pass the quizzes, and it is a learning exercise as well. So yeah, look, I'm really glad. So Alex, overall, you're an advanced learner, right? Can you tell us about how many courses you've done and you already, do? So some of the beginners can kind of compare to how long it would take them. Can you give us, if you were a beginner, how much more work it would take you?
Well, that's a tricky one. I think as a beginner, like you'd really have to sort of like sit down and go through all these lectures that you've provided, and I think that provides such a firm foundation. I wish I had something like that available to me. Perhaps I started off 5 years ago doing orthodontics, but that was doing like short-term orthodontics, like fast braces and C-fast and short-term orthodontics. And then I did Dr. Eric Lownhout's course, so that's the New South Wales one, and that's called Vital Orthodontics. So that was really good for like braces experience. And your course has just cemented my knowledge in clear aligners, and has given me so much more confidence with that. So I think as a beginner, it certainly might take time, but choose your cases. Choose like easy cases. I've chosen like, I think, pretty tricky cases as part of the portfolios, because I really wanted to push, push what I can do and have your help, Dr. V. But as a beginner, just choose like something really easy and use that as part of your portfolio, and that should make things so much easier for you. Like just a little bit of crowding, or like even a case that doesn't really need Invisalign, just a little bit of like relapse. And as a beginner, that might be like the best thing to start. If you haven't done much clear aligners, if this is like your first Invisalign or clear aligner case, I'd recommend just going.
You should do could you do a certificate for in training and assessment?
No.
You've knocked this out of the way, so I'm sure you can do a cert for in T&E, because you could be a backup trainer for us. So one of our requirement is we must have somebody who's done a diploma and also have a certificate for in T&E, which took me about 6 months, and I got a bit lazy at it, but it could take someone like you 3 months. But it's really bullshit, to be honest. You have to write a course on how to bake a cake and all of that, and you go, how will I ever use this in my life? But but if you are a trainer and assessor in Australian standards, they actually teach you how to be very objective, how to give everybody the right to have an award or knowledge and skill. And so it's a very good thing to do. So Alex, you're welcome to do it if you ever want to. I need to say thank you, because you've really changed so many things by being the first person to submit everything.
Thanks, Dr. V. I'll definitely look into that. So certainly we'll keep in touch, and that could be the next course I do.
Yeah, you need to. And also I wanted to say, one thing Alex did, his strategy, he started with us. I can't remember, when did you start, Alex? July? I think July, yeah?
August, I think. So.
August. Okay. Yeah. So he enrolled in the dual course, and he said to me, look, he saw the UK requirements were very little, and he saw the Australians were more. And he said to me, if I submit UK requirements, can I get that faster? And I said, of course you can. And the UK requirements, he just went and did bang, bang, bang. He just finished it. And so he's got his UK. Today we just posted your UK diploma. I packaged it myself.
Nice, thank you, Dr. Yeah, definitely.
I sealed it, and I was like, it's going, it's registered post coming to you soon. And so what he did was very clever. He said, look, I already have a couple of cases because I've done some stuff. Can I get the UK before the Australian? Because it seems easier. And we said, why not? And so he graduated from the UK within 6 months, which a lot of people who've done aligners will graduate from the UK a lot faster, because the assessments are not that much. They're quite light. But this one really challenges you, doesn't it, Alex? Do you think it challenged you as a
yeah, definitely, hugely, yeah, definitely. So the Australian part was pretty challenging, like just the amount of work you have to put in those portfolios. The case A and B and C, so much more work is involved. The UK one is like really breezy. Like I didn't realize it was that easy. I just do your final exam. I think it was a 50% pass was required.
Yeah.
And then you could even do like 2 easy cases that you work up and present, which you could present with Dr. V at the coaching session, and that was enough for the UK accreditation.
Yeah, they are much more lenient. It's a privatized industry, and that's why I say anyone can get UK accreditation. Australian, tough. Can I also ask Alice, if I asked you one thing that I could do better in these assessments, what could I do to make it a bit more easier for the rest of the group?
My thought, this was going back with the original components in the booklet, was that I think that it was tricky with the part A and B and C. They kind of almost overlap. So maybe something to consider might be having it as a case presentation of like the adult case, and that would just be from start to finish, and then
yes, got it. Yeah,
2 kids, like a complete case presentation. Because currently, I think with my portfolios, I think like
I know one of the C's repeated, so you literally repeat the photos again, you repeat the diagnosis again. Yeah, I get it. That is a very, very smart thing to say. Actually, I think we could do that. I think we could make that change. What is the one thing that you enjoy? Like, would you say it's amazing? Like, this is about the assessments, not the course, the assessments.
Yep. One thing that I really found great just doing the assessments personally was just making sure that it just gave me that idea of how to accurately So with all my orthodontic patients now, or just orthodontic consultations, thinking in that sort of mindset, like a process, like that's what I'm taking away from the assessments of the portfolio. It's like how thorough I could be with my, like my recording my diagnostics, treatment plan options, presenting that to the patient. So I think that was the biggest learning thing that I took away from the assignments.
Oh, wow. And any chance
To be able to like present that to the patient. Yeah.
And are you voting Labour or Liberal?
I have no idea.
Do you want to leave WA? Do you want to leave WA and come to Sydney?
Yeah, I want to travel.
You are safe though. You guys like are pretty safe, so it's good. It's good to be in
Lucky
WA.
in that regard.
We are like all covered up, worried about everything. So anyways, Alex, really appreciate your time. I can see you still in the clinics, and you have no idea how much you've helped the cause by being the first person to get so far so quick. And I can't believe the effort you put in, and the quality is amazing of your presentations. I've used them as templates to show others what to expect. And it'll be like the next 4 or 5 submissions, we're going to get a trend. But I'm really considering what he's saying, not to have that repetition and to change the template. So give me, guys, about 30 days or so, and we'll look at redesigning the templates to just make it more smoother for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for all the help, and definitely learned so much, Dr. B.
Oh, thank you. Oh, you're too kind. You're teaching me. I've learned a lot from you. So I appreciate it. You've got a nice point of view. Your treatment plans are pretty well thought out. I like it. You add to the discussion. So thank you so much.
No problems. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
And any of you guys have a question for Alex? Also, he's in the group, guys, so you can tag him. Well, unless he finishes in the next month, but he's still around on our boss Slack. So you can tag Alex, it's Alex Fu, and he could answer some questions. But any questions you have for Alex? No?
I got one question, Vandana.
Yeah. Hi, Claudia.
Hi. I'm struggling just to find kids, actually. I'm going to put my child, but I normally work with adults and cosmetic practice, and, you know, it's all more with more than orthodontics. It's also other specialties. But
Yeah.
Is there any chance just to put my daughter and that's it? I can't find another one.
Claudia, it's totally fine. And you know what? We can substitute a kid for an adult. It's okay. And
Yeah?
I can give you some, you can even give me 3 adults or 4 adults. You can do.
Oh, great.
It's not going to be ideal because I'm going to have to ask you in-depth questions because I have to tick that marking sheet.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to give you some of my cases, and then potentially it might become 2 interviews, 2 vivas for you because it'll be too long. We could do it. We could work around that, but even 1 kid would help. Even if it's
All
a
right.
teen. By the way, guys, I wanted to say, even if it's a teen, doesn't have to be mixed dentition. As long as there's a bit of a deep bite, like a vertical problem or a AP problem, where we show mild orthopedic changes, I would be happy with that.
Okay,
and
okay.
You don't have to start treatment, simply plan it. Is that right, Alex? Did you find through going through the assessments that you only have to show evidence of bonding and attachment, but nowhere it said for you to start treatment? Is that right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. There's evidence of bonding anybody, right?
yeah, I can't remember, but I think even evidence bonding it on like a model or something.
Yeah, even on a model. Okay. Yeah, even on a type-on model, because some patients, you know, if you don't want to start, that's okay. Even on a model would be fine. Yeah, I remember there's an adjustment allowed for that.
But in saying so, Dr. V, you'll get so much out of the course if you actually started a case, definitely. So, I mean, you're investing so much, and it's a year. Is it a year course, I think, Dr. V?
It's about 18 months. We say 12 to 18. So for someone like you finish in 12, I know easy, but most people would take maybe 18. And but if they've done the UK before, I expect 12 should be enough. So it's about just being motivated. I don't know how you did it so fast. I was just blown away. I'm getting assignments and whoa, what's happening? You just joined, and as you said, you had a bit of time, so you just sat down and you just did it.
Yeah.
But what I love, you had the assessment in your mind from day one. So when you had that in your mind, as you're doing cases, you were taking all the right records to go and put it in your assessments.
Yeah, and I think that you've introduced like the core beginner section, which I think was really critical to get the ball rolling for then.
For the beginners, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think there's adequate training on Ceph on the e-learning portal? Because to be honest, I didn't want a Ceph tracing as the assessment. It's industry feedback, the ADA, the ASO. Other people who looked at this course had certain feedback, and I did not even want that. And I had to add that in one of the assessments. Do you think there's adequate training though, or resources for that?
Remembering from the lectures, I can't remember his name, but he went through it pretty good.
Almuzian.
Yeah, that's him.
And he came to Australia and did some lectures for us, and he was happy for us to reuse his lectures. So you think it was sufficient? Like, because I do think it's quite well.
Yeah. Like if you really want to go into it, I agree with you. Like it's something that I guess it's good to have for the records, but like if you really want to go to the extra step, I guess it would be like step-by-step tracing, which I think Almuzian does touch on.
Yeah. So you watched that video, and have you gone through all the videos in the e-learning portal by now? Like all
pretty
of
much.
them?
Some things where it was kind of like case examples, I kind of maybe sort of skipped just because like it was, if it was simple one, then maybe I skipped those ones. But like the theoretical ones, like the things that sort of appealed, yes, I definitely went through. Maybe I rewatched it again.
Wow. Next step, third for TNE, MBA. I'm seeing a lot of degrees: law, health practice law. Or just
if you see something that'll be good, I'm happy to take your suggestions.
I actually think you should go into I'm considering a law degree now, something to do on the side.
You're collecting the letters.
Yeah. I rarely meet someone who's done 4 and I'm going, oh my God, if I've done 5, people say she's a psycho. And 4 degrees is enough, but I'm thinking of health practice law now. And I was just thinking, something to just, sometimes I do things just to gain knowledge. It wouldn't even be for practice. It would just be like, what do I learn from this? And then you always gain something. Like my MBA taught me something. It wasn't as useful as I thought, but actually it taught me a lot about digital technology, and it taught me a lot about taking BOSS online. Actually, that was the biggest thing that the MBA taught me, how to integrate different things, how to live in the digital world. It was really, really good from that perspective. And before that, I didn't even have an idea of what digital education can do. And I did my entire MBA online. So it really gave me an understanding and appreciation of online learning.
That's amazing. Yeah.
So anyways, guys, thank you. It's been a long night. We've gone through this webinar is recorded. Alex is there. Alex, I really appreciate you coming there, giving everyone the confidence. It's very overwhelming. And I'm there to help you guys. And we've also got other people to help you. Each one of you can help each other. If you really, cases is the biggest problem. If you really can't find them, let me know. By 6 months or so into your course, we could do something. If you come into my office, you can even take photographs of a case, for example, and we can let you have that as your records, and we could work something out. So please come early to me, but take about 6 months and just let me know if you really are struggling. We can also, like Claudia said, if you don't see a lot of kids, we could do more adults and give you a dummy case for a kid. And just to kind of understand your growth concepts, that's about it. Or we can add more questions or a short assignment that you just have to do without taking records. So we can reasonably adjust any assessment for you. And that is my job, okay, to make things a bit easy for you. And I'm trying my best. We're going to make the template ABC, like Alex said, to flow a lot better and have less repetition. And we'll upload it for you soon, but it'll take a little bit of time. And and in the meantime, on the Slack, just ask me any questions as you go through the assessments. Yeah, thank you guys. Thanks, Alex. Really
Thanks for the
appreciate
opportunity, Dr. V.
show off your UKPGD trophy when it comes.
I will.
I really appreciate it, Alex. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thanks. Likewise. See ya.
Bye. Yeah, bye.